Hello Year 4, welcome to your English lesson for Monday the 18th of January. We are going to carry on from the lesson you started with Mrs. Plews last week. Okay, in your last lesson you created innovated characters, so you replaced Tranio with your own Roman character. And you came up with some really great ideas. We really liked seeing all the things you sent through. You chose some really lovely expanded noun phrases to describe your characters, and we also really enjoyed looking at your drawings, so thank you for putting so much effort into those. The first thing I'd like you to do is have a look at that work, look through your description, choose which is your favourite expanded noun phrase. Hopefully you can find one with really nice, rich vocabulary. You're then going to have another look and you're going to choose one that you think you can improve, and you're going to pause the video and think of better, richer words that you could use instead. Okay, our writing target is still using expanded noun phrases, and we have just got a reminder for you here that we'd like to see those commas in between your adjectives. So adjective, comma, adjective, noun. Can you come up with, I wonder, an expanded noun phrase to describe yourself? You don't need to write it down, you can just say it out loud. So I might say, I am a friendly, helpful teacher. Friendly, comma, helpful teacher. Think of one that you could say about you. Now think of one about your friend. For example, I might say, I have a kind, comma, trustworthy friend. Can you think of one to describe your friend? So don't write it down, you can just say it. So today is Monday the 18th of January 2021, and our WALT is we are learning to create an innovated plan of escape from Pompeii, including description. Please could you pause the video, write your date and WALT, making sure you spell Pompeii correctly, and then underline it. So now you've got a different main character. I wonder how your plot might change. The main character I've come up with is called Claudius, and he is the son of a sailor. So I'm going to be thinking today about how I could change my plot based on Claudius. We are creating an innovated escape from Pompeii story, and you innovated by changing your character. Will the story still take place in Pompeii? Do you want to agree with me, build on or challenge me? The story will still take place in Pompeii. Do you agree? Are you going to build on what I'm saying, or are you going to challenge me? Hopefully you've realised, because the story is still called Escape from Pompeii, that it still needs to be set in Pompeii. But we might build on that by adding in extra detail about our setting. That would make our story much higher quality. The one that we have been looking at is quite brief. In order to be able to say more about our setting, we need to find out a little bit more about Roman life. So we're going to watch a video. Watch the video really carefully and we will talk about what they say at the end.
To see what life was like in that ancient city. A day spent in ancient Rome would be a very full day, and it would start at sunrise. In these days before electric lights, it was necessary to get everything done while the sun was shining. That meant getting an early start to every day. Since the weather in Rome is warm most of the year, and since they were out when the warm sun was shining, Romans wore garments called tunics that left their legs bare. Most Romans had only one outfit that they wore every day, and it was rarely washed. The wealthy, on the other hand, wore draping pieces of fabric called togas over their tunics. And the most important Roman citizens wore togas with a bold, colorful stripe to make them stand out in the crowd. Finishing off a Roman outfit were sandals made of leather. Not too different from the shoes of today. Roman homes were variations on familiar concepts as well. Very few people had houses of their own, but those who did lived in houses that were built around a big garden and had beautiful works of art painted directly onto the walls. Most people, however, lived in small apartment buildings that were made mostly of wood. So, for fear of fire, residents did not cook inside. They bought food already prepared, usually no more than soup and bread. Some people sat at tables, but most ate sitting on the floor. Mealtime in the homes of the wealthy was a different story. They ate large feasts and were served as they lay on couches. But whether rich or poor, one thing was the same at every meal. There were no forks in ancient Rome, so people ate with their fingers.
What I think you'd notice if a time traveller went back would be the smell, the noise, the dirt, the crowdedness. I think there'd be lots of beggars, lots of small children.
Traffic was terrible. Julius Caesar forbade wheeled traffic during the day so people could move around, which meant that at night all these carts started going on these stone streets, and it was so noisy that you couldn't sleep.
All that traffic wore deep ruts into the streets of Rome.
You could be in the city of Rome and you could see people who were obviously African, obviously Italian, Gauls, German. All of these people were in fact Roman citizens.
And every day, the citizens would gather in the most crowded of the crowded places, the Forum. The Forum was a busy square in the center of town where Romans could purchase goods from near and far using Roman coins called denarii. It also was abuzz with orators and politicians holding lively debates and giving speeches. This would all be in the official language of the Roman Empire, Latin. Hearing the speeches of ancient Romans would have been much easier than reading their writings. They didn't leave spaces between words, and they rarely used punctuation. They carefully carved words onto wax tablets, or they wrote with ink on papyrus scrolls that came from Egypt. It is from their writings that we've learned so much about their lives. For instance, we know that the Forum was only one place to visit in ancient Rome. There were also temples for worship, stadiums to watch races, theaters to see plays, and there were baths. The baths had pools of cool and hot water for bathing, but there were also libraries, hair salons, massage parlors, and gardens. The baths were a place to relax and socialize. For the poor, a visit was a rare luxury. The rich would visit every day. These are just some of the many things that we know about the ways that ancient Romans lived. Because of their detailed writings, their art, and their buildings, we know today of the extraordinary empire that ended centuries ago.
Okay, so we learned lots of things there about life in ancient Rome. So they got up at sunrise, they needed to get things done, or they had light. The climate's quite warm. Poor people generally had one outfit. Rich people wore togas and colourful stripes. They wore leather sandals. Not very many people had their own houses. They tended to live in small wooden apartment buildings. They ate with their fingers sitting on the floor. The Forum was a busy square where debates and speeches were given by politicians in Latin. The people that could write sometimes wrote on papyrus in ink. We learned about papyrus when we learned about the ancient Egyptians. There were temples for worship. There were stadiums to watch races. There were theatres, there were libraries, hair salons, massage parlours and baths. There's lots and lots of information there that we can use to enhance our writing. So we'll come back to that a bit later. Now Emmett's been thinking about his innovation, and he thinks we don't have to have it in Pompeii, our story. It doesn't have to be in Pompeii. He thinks it does have to be a child. They do have to be playing knucklebones. We don't need a volcano. We might escape on a boat, and we don't need ash cloud and all of the signs of a volcano erupting. Do you agree with Emmett, or do you disagree? Hopefully you disagreed with Emmett, because we've already said we do need to set our story in Pompeii. It's an escape from Pompeii story. Your character you created with Mrs. Plews last week, maybe they're a child, maybe they're an adult. You've already created that protagonist, that main character. They might still be playing knucklebones, they might not. They might be doing something totally different. We still need a volcano erupting. They might escape on a boat. However, if you want to go deeper, you might have some ideas about different ways they could escape from Pompeii. And then we do still need ash cloud, black sky, all the signs of that volcano erupting. So what we are going to do today then, we are going to map out our story on a story map, on a mountain. So I am going to read each part of the story, and you've also got it from your boxing up lesson if you want to look back. And then you are going to draw pictures for each section to show what's going to happen in your version of the story. So to start with, you should have your date on your WALT, which should already be written. In pencil, I would like you to draw your story mountain with a ruler. Alternatively, if you have a printer, you may print the story mountain from the planning document that we have given you. But it's just as easy to draw it. You then need to use your pen to write on opening, build up, problem, resolution, and ending. Or your pencil if you don't have a pen license yet. Your steps to success today are that you need to draw neat, clear pictures. Your pictures should be drawn in pencil, please. Your writing should be done in a pen or in a pencil if you don't yet have your pen license. But my point is that we don't draw in pen. Your story is going to be a natural disaster story set in Roman times. And you're going to add some rich description to your story mountain at the end of our session. Let's start with section 1, our opening. So I will read you the opening from the original story, and then you will draw your own pictures, just like I've done here. Long ago, the Roman city of Pompeii glimmered in the sunlight. From his window, Tranio listened to the humming of the tradesmen below. Beyond the city walls, he could see Vesuvius in the distance. Was anything more beautiful? Tranio wondered. Tranio was the son of Dion, the actor. He'd often sneak to his friend Livia's house, who lived across the street. She was the baker's daughter. Liv, come and play jacks. I've got a bag of bones from Mother's kitchen. They're just the right size. They squatted by the fountain and began to play knucklebones. Then something happened. Okay, you now need to draw a picture to represent what you want to happen in your opening. This is my opening picture. Just excuse the drawing. It's not very good. I had to draw it in the board pen. Yours will be so much better. This is my main character, my protagonist. He's called Claudius, and he is in the forum listening to a debate. But he's a bit bored, okay? His mum and dad said he had to go and listen to the debate because it's really good learning. But he would really rather not be there. He wants to go and play. So whilst he's sitting there, really, really bored, he sees his friend Livia walk past. So I'm sticking with Livia. I like the character of Livia. And he says to Livia, "Oh, Livia, I'm a bit bored. Shall we go off to the theatre together?" So I'm adding in some detail about Roman life. In the background here, I've got Mount Vesuvius, because I'd really like to describe Mount Vesuvius in my opening paragraph to really set the scene. So that's my first picture. Pause the video, draw your first picture with your protagonist in it, please. Okay, moving on to the build-up. So, In our original story, it said the stone steps creaked, the flaps began to rattle, and the building quivered. Loaves scattered onto the floor. Everyone fell silent. Nothing to fear, everyone, called Liv's father. Flushed and excited, the two children ran off into the dusty streets down to the harbour. But as they ran, the sky began to darken, and a thick cloud drifted slowly overhead. Okay, I have got Mount Vesuvius shaking. I've got the buildings shaking. I've got dark clouds in the sky. I've got boxes falling over in my street. I've got people falling over because of the ground shaking. I've got really, really sad and worried people in my drawing here. And I'm going to have, in fact, I haven't drawn it on. I'm going to have Livia and Claudius running toward the theatre. There they are. They're going to run to the theatre. Put that into a speech bubble. They don't really know what else to do at the moment. Okay. We have got Tranio. I can't breathe in the back of my throat. As she spoke, Livia started to choke. The children could hear dogs barking and people's muffled screams as they ran, gasping for air. Then, in one terrible, endless moment, they heard mighty Mount Vesuvius roar. Its top exploded. A massive cloud of ash rose to the heavens, twisting and bubbling in every direction. Tranio and Livia held each other desperately as the streaming lava covered the walls, streets, and gardens of their beloved Pompeii. Okay, so they are hiding in the theatre. Peeping out the door, they can hear babies crying. They can hear cats screeching. They can see lava pouring down from Mount Vesuvius. They can see the dark cloud in the sky. Livia's really struggling to breathe. So I haven't changed that much. Okay, I've just got them hiding in the theatre because I want to add in those little details about Roman life. Okay, my resolution. No one had noticed two small children hide in the cargo ship. Dusty and tired, they watched in horror as the sky became thick with pumice and black ash. Okay, so Claudius says, we need to escape. Come on, Liv, run to the harbour. Claudius, if you remember, is the son of a sailor. Tranio was the son of an actor. My Claudius character is the son of a sailor. He knows if they get to the harbour, he will be able to sail a boat out to safety. In this section, I will also talk about things like the sky being dark with pumice and ash. Okay, so I'm going to put some dark clouds around my picture. Okay, in our ending, on our original story, it said the water began to swell against the side of the boat they were in, moving it to safety. They had left just in time. In my ending, Claudius and Livia, they see an empty boat. They jump into the boat. Claudius sails that boat out to sea just in time. So again, it's very, very similar. I've just tweaked it slightly so that Claudius can sail his own boat. Don't forget, those of you who want to go deeper today, you might decide that you are going to find a different way of escaping. So pause the video, do your ending picture now, please. So make sure you have got a picture for every single section on your story mountain. Let's just have a look at our WALT again. It says create an innovative plan of escape from Pompeii. We've done that bit, including description. Okay, this is where we need to add some description. We're going to use rich and varied language, and we're going to think about daily life. So let's just go back to that detail from the video that we watched. Get up at sunrise, warm. They had one outfit. Oh, have a look through all of those points there just for a moment. Pause the video, read it again. You are going to use those details to help you annotate your story map. So I started having a go at the first two sections on mine. I have said that Claudius is in the noisy, bustling forum. I will mention the politicians talking in Latin. I'm adding in details about everyday life. Claudius is wearing leather sandals and a dirty toga. He's only got one outfit. He's bored by the debate. We've got dusty, cobbled streets. They're quite noisy, I remember the video saying. They're noisy. So I'll talk about that noise in my writing. We've got the awe-inspiring, magnificent volcano. Claudius is surprised to see his beautiful, trustworthy friend. His stomach rumbles like the wheels of a cart. He asks her, would you like to go to the theatre? Okay, that's my first section. Just some notes. It's not everything I'm going to write, it's just some notes. I then did the same for my second section. I've got a rumbling, menacing volcano, quivering, vibrating buildings. I might actually name some of those buildings. So I might talk about the hair salon. I might talk about the theatre. I might talk about the massage parlour. I'm going to get those details in that's going to show me that this story is set in Rome, in ancient Rome. In the Roman times, sorry. Let's get rid of that one. I don't like that one. We're going to have boxes falling over in the street, confused, anxious people falling to the ground. We're going to have screaming, whispers, people shouting for their loved ones, ominous black clouds, people struggling to breathe. And we've got Claudius, who is going to be shocked, terrified, and confused. Okay, so add some details, add some description, some adjectives. Can you see I've got confused, I've got anxious, I've got shocked, terrified, confused, quivering, vibrating, rumbling, and menacing. So add your adjectives, add your detail about everyday life to each of your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections, please. Don't forget you are writing in pen if you've got your pen license, or pencil if you haven't. When you have done that and you have got both your pictures and your description, you need to have a look at your story map. Does your story still make sense? Ask yourself, does it still fit in with the title, Escape from Pompeii? Is it set in Roman times? You shouldn't have any references to television. You shouldn't have any references to playing on the Xbox. It needs to be set in Roman times. As long as you are happy that your story makes sense, then you have finished for today. So well done, Year 4. We really look forward to seeing the ideas that you have come up with. Have a lovely day.